video stream, whichever. All right. So today is Metal Max Xeno. You know what? Before we get started too deep, it's not. Doesn't appear to be. Yes, it's a tank-based JRPG. It's actually a fairly long-running series in Japan. Somewhat indie, I guess, before indie games were indie.
アイアンベースにようこそ。初めてこの場所を訪れる方のためにこの歓迎ホログラムが用意されています。だから私を撃っても無駄ですよ。引き殺すこともできません。おとなしく質問に答えてください。あなたは人間ですか？あなたの名前を教えてください。はーい。出身地はどこですか？血液型は？戦車に乗っているところから推測。その素敵な戦車。
Yeah, these, anyway, to respond to what you said, that play is gross. But also, yeah, the Metal Max games oscillate between being dark and darkly humorous.
食い終わったらすぐに出発するぞ。この写真にここに大きな町がある。大勢そこで車を手に。俺たち人間は弱い生き物だ。車を手に入れて。
Alright. So, this is Metal Max Xeno from 2018. I want to get this right. So I actually have the history of the Metal Max saga, which unfortunately doesn't include it does not include the timeline is accurate, but it doesn't include the Metal Saga games, which for a time Metal Max was embroiled in a legal dispute with actually Mad Max. But the first game came out in May 1991. Came out on the Famicom, so Japan's version of the original Nintendo. And so far as I can tell, like, I am absolutely open to be corrected, it is one of the first open world RPGs. You know, the game could end basically as soon as you wanted it to. You could always go home and basically call it quits. Stop being a monster hunter, driving around in a tank, and take over your character's dad's machine shop. Then that first game was actually remade for the Super Nintendo or Super Famicom, and that's the game. That one's called Metal Max Returns. That's the game where my online name comes from. Metal Mat Returns or Metal Mat Gaming. That's one of my favorite video games of all time. Not even close competition, really. I adore it. I probably play through it to its entirety once a year since 2016, when I found out it existed. And I can't really show the picture of it. Yeah. It's actually a really interesting story. So, we used to vacation in Indiana. I was like 6, maybe 7. And there was a, like, mom and pop video game store. It also sold, like, music and vinyls. And it dealt with a lot of imports, right? So you could get, like, imported CDs and records, sort of thing. And I don't precisely remember the context, but I was carrying around a copy of Pokemon Yellow for basically the whole trip. It got damaged, and my parents decided it best to just go to a game store, see if it could be fixed, or I could buy a new one. But of course, my parents being my parents, got distracted by like records, and I was kind of browsing around. And there, up on this wall, was, and I don't know how the guy got it. I don't know why the guy got it, but it was this big yellow poster for the original Metal Max for the Famicom. It's this big yellow poster. It's super striking. It's very late 80s, early 90s. And it just had my attention. It had my attention. I asked the old stoner behind the counter, because I didn't realize it at the time, but like the adult in me recognized the 1,000-yard stare and the smell of patchouli oil for what it was. And the guy was telling me about this game that was like Final Fantasy, but you used cars. Trying his best and maybe not necessarily succeeding the best at describing a dystopic post-apocalyptic video game to like a 7 or 8 year old, I guess. Yeah, 7 or 8 would make sense, because I had a Game Boy Color, not a Game Boy Pocket. And that was it. Like, I spent essentially the next 12 years of my life looking for this game, and at some point in high school I had convinced myself that I didn't remember it was called, I was remembering incorrectly, it wasn't called Metal Max, and I was failing algorithmic searches because I was making it all one word. I had the name wrong. I was probably just looking at promotional material for the Mad Max original Nintendo game. And, kind of let it slip out of my mind. Until, out of just random happenstance, there is a website, I believe it's RPG Site, which dedicates entirely to JRPGs, that shared, before this came out, only one game came to the United States. It was called Metal Saga. It was published by Atlas. That was during the time Metal Max was dealing with those legal issues. And I had missed that one entirely, because if you look at the cover and you compare it to something like Sakura Arms, which is like from what I understand at the time, was like a tactical dating sim, it looked very similar. So anyways, I'm scrolling through social media, and they put up this, like, on this day in history sort of thing. And they're talking about Metal Saga. And I'm like, okay, well, usually I read them because I like the history of video games. And they start talking about, like, oh, this was one of the few American games to come out for the Metal Max series. And I immediately dove in. I had to know everything. And it, boy, is it a troubled history. First published and created by Data East. Data East went bankrupt. The series kind of went dormant for a number of years. Still putting out games, but putting out games under the Metal Saga timeline, which is part of why the history actually isn't in the collector's guidebook I got with this game. So, like, it jumps straight from Metal X 1, being remade into Metal Max Returns for the Super Nintendo, or the Super Famicom, and then Metal Max 2 was in 1993. Fast forward all the way to 2010. Kadokawa, the company that put this one out, makes Metal Max 3. You have Reloaded, you have Metal Max 4, Moonlight Diva, and 2018 with Metal Max Xeno. So now that we've got a little bit of the history out of the way, we'll get back into the game. I know that was the most interesting, just watching the static game on the screen, but I wanted to get a lot of the context out of the way here. Okay. Okay. Oh, interesting. The...
このまま勝ち続けてやる。
So, interestingly, not interestingly, I guess, but this game in particular had a little bit of a troubled release. It came out on PS Vita and PS4 pretty late in the PS4's lifespan. And it was getting a little bit of a following. Unfortunately, let's see here. Let me confirm this. Relax, Xeno. Yeah, so this game was picking up a little bit of a following. There was supposed to be some DLC that did eventually come in the form of actually an almost ground-up mechanical remake called Metal Max Xeno Reborn, which leans more into the vehicle aspect. And another game called Metal Dogs, which is a relatively simple little roguelike, but entertaining because you get to... Your character is a Shiba Inu with essentially a Gatling gun or a tank on your back. Or a tank barrel, so like something larger caliber. Alright. Red Rev. That's right. We'll just go with red. Historically, in all of these games, there is midway to like 3/4 of the way through the game, you get access to what's called the Red Wolf, which is generally one of the better tanks in any of the games. It's a bummer because your first tank is usually called the Mosquito. And in most of the games, I've played and have translated, that stays true. So, just doing a little bit of combat, I'll show off a little bit some of the mechanics. So, generally with the Metal Max games, the story is important, but it's not super important. It's usually like loose association of vignettes. You know, smaller stories. Think something akin to like modern Elder Scrolls. Like really bite-sized stories with like one big overarching story that maybe you're not paying as much attention to. But the more important part is you're using a multi-phase RPG system. So like, well, we'll get to it after some of this story.
俺はこいつらを一匹残らず、たとえこの世に。
Okay.
ちょっとあなた、そこの義手の若者。私たち以外にも私はダヌンツよ。ここに大きなその町はモンスターと生き残ったのはこのアイアンベース。100人以上の生存者たちがアイアンベース。おお、こりゃまためっちゃ見てみ、この砲塔のライン。あえて左右非対称。確かにこいつがちゃんと動けばモンスター。わしはジンゴロー。はい、今後お前さんの戦車のことで何か問題。
We'll get through the story here, and I'll talk a little bit more about some of it.
Iron Base にようこそ。私はポエムとお呼びください。今後あなたはアイアンベースでだから思う存分。失礼。あなたとこれで私たちは
アイアンベースはその協力の見返りとしてかつてはあちこちに生存者たちの地図で言えば。
Okay. That's right, I remember some
弾
of
薬
this.
が尽きたり戦車装備が壊れたりしたらすぐに。ひょっとするとお前さんお手並み拝見じゃ。
May the tank.
Cute little Star Wars reference there.
通信チャンネルの微調整をデストキオと呼ばれるこの土地はかつては今のところ確認でお願いした調査のためペケのマーク。まずは白いモンスターが出現した場合、地図が判別しづらいときはできる限り車からは降りないよ。
Alright. There's... There we go. So, like, that's... So, as... well, unfortunately, as you can see, this game wasn't maybe made on the biggest budget, but the older games are, they're packed full of things, like small stuff you can miss, insanely replayable. And there's still some of that, like, having played quite a bit of this, a lot of love for the series went into this game, where they just, they definitely didn't have the budget, but they tried really hard anyway. And you'll see some of that, some popular vehicles from the past show up, because there's not just tanks in this game. One of my favorite vehicles in Battle Max Returns is actually a converted ambulance, because unhinged insanity abound in this series. Okay. Let's see here.
貴重なデータになりそうです。大破壊前後の時代の書物はその時代の情報を蓄積できれば、テクノロジーレベルが上がれば、今はでき
They're using that tech level. We are not prepared to fight the sand shark quite yet, so we will. Realistically, we need another gun to attach to this bad boy. Ooh, okay, that's pretty good. Let's see here. Oh, not gonna let me, huh? Engine management. Okay, we're gonna see if we can sneak past the big boss to get this chest. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. No, but yeah, like these games were packed with references, funny jokes. Oftentimes, enemy vehicles would be named after like hair metal bands. The music were good. They just never quite, after the first couple of games, they just never quite got their footing. Data East was putting out a lot of games, but they were running into issues of like actual quality, and their publishing was a little. It's often good, but at the time, if you released a buggy game in Japan, it was generally expected that you do something about it. Right? Like you replace the game, you offer refunds. Bad product is bad. Oh, okay. Those are components to actually make the weapons, not the weapons themselves. Got it. That's fine. The other thing I adored about, and I guess, it's not like it. It's not like it's super mattered too much, I guess. But I guess it doesn't matter as much here. But like Okay, so if we go to the equipment, I can explain a little bit better. So most of the games have, and like, you can actually see a little bit of it here in the SP or the shield points. So this is the bull, the standard engine. It's got a maximum of 20 tons, right? So the more armor, the bigger the guns I put on it, the fewer plates of armor. So like a really actually pretty interesting strategy in some of the older games, and it can be here too, is to get a really big engine but use really light guns, so you can kind of tank a whole bunch of shots. Yeah, we're just reloading on armor and weapons so we can keep going here. We're gonna do a little bit of grinding, but the grinding doesn't. Oh, that might be what we need. No, it was another part. Well, that's fine. Okay. There's a fair number of these that have been translated. So likely what I'll do there we go, is stream this game until I hit like a good pivot point, and then I might switch to, let's see, I might switch to streaming some of the older games as I'm able to evolve my setup. Because this, as much as I love this game, because with the series, oh, I had missed that. That's hilarious. Okay, there it is. Alright, we're actually gonna head back. There we go. That's phenomenal.
新たなベスターポートの登録を完了しました。ベスターポートのシグナルを見つけたら近づいて遠く離れた場所からそこへ。
And then here should be a boss fight. No, that's a massacred camp.
なんてこと。暦。
残っているのは砂と瓦礫だ。
サンズどもめ。今度こそ生き残った人間を根絶やしにするつもりか。話せば長くなる。モンスターの中でも人類にとって最悪の敵。ほんの数人の生存者が暮らす地、水量は激減してたけど、まだ水の枯れここらを旅する者たち、他のキャンプが心配だわ。
Alright.
反応あり。大型の飛行。 化レースに該当モンスター手配名称デスデリバラー賞金
サンズが相手じゃウォンテッドされてるってことはこいつを倒せば賞金をもらえるって
賞金それはあくまで罰があったからの話で
おおハロータルワイ賞金くらいそうねそれで人類滅亡だから勝て俺はお前らを決して許さない
Oh. There we go. Oh, good talk. Ooh, doggy. If we survive, we're gonna be limping back. Well, that was rough, but we did it.
Oh, yeah.
お見事でした
That's amazing. Frickin' flyers.
これからは基地にメニューの中から
サンズを倒すなんてやるじゃないアイアンベースの中にあなたの部屋を用意自慢じゃないけどこの世界にこれほど一風呂浴びてさっぱりしてその間にオーマイガーなんてセクシー
お部屋に案内します
Yeah. I mean, Rancor is just kind of a baller card.
人類はもうおしまいだよ。おいらたちだってもうすぐ死ぬ。はあ？誰？
That's
彼
right.
は今日から私たちと一緒に暮らすことにもうそのくらいにしとけよキここにある酒一人で全部飲む
うるさいな。変わった義手してるね。いいじゃん少しくらい。どこで見つけたのこれ。うわ意外と柔らかい。
俺に触るな
Get punched, nerd.
あとを頼むわねあとそれがいいついでにベッドに縛り付けて酒が飲めんようにしとけロッキーは5時でな わしと町が壊滅。あれでも機械をいじらせたら天才的な才能を持っとる。お前さんはわしらと違って年齢も近い。
お部屋に案内します。
Okay.
地下2階の半分はみんなで食事したり。あちらはバーです。お酒を。ここから個室エリアです。廊下。
I don't know. I would have to go looking. What's the percentage of players that completed Tactician?
ヨッキーは寝ついたわ。派手に吹っ飛んだ
Only 2.2%?
してなかったし。いいのよ、気にしないで。これに懲りて少しは酒を控えてくれる。
I bet honor mode is like 0.5. It's gotta be less than 1%. My guess is 0.5 or lower. 0.5% or lower.
そんなわけでこのドアが
Oh, really? That's wild to me. That's so many more than I thought. But also, for Baldur's Gate 3 is such a popular game.
人間って隣人を愛する。
Let's take a look. Okay, hold on. I missed that. Alright. That doesn't surprise me. I have definitely heard that, I've definitely heard that...
あの調子で飲んだくれてたらわしらより先に行っちまうぞ。
Don't know how to get to my trophies in the app. There we are.
「仕方ないわよ、じんちゃん。生き残ったのは私たちだけでしょ。女の子が一人もいないんじゃ。確かにな。必死で。
Let's see. No, I actually haven't had a solo run of Baldur's Gate 3 yet. It's just difficult enough of a game that probably something from Sakura Wars. No, it's 52%. $43. I'm sure this is excellent content. Okay, I'm just gonna look it up. There we go. Okay. Back to playing. I will have to figure out my rarest trophy, and then I will let you know.
あの子でも死んじゃったんだろうな。殴った？おいら？
あら、おはよう。何か用か、豊美の井戸の際。
Okay.
.かつてアイアンベースの周囲にはアイアンタウンと呼ばれる大きな町があったわ。集まってきた生存者たちが勝手に住処や店をこしらえていくうちになんとなく大きくなった。サンズの襲撃を受けた時、ここから逃げ出した人間アイアンタウンは壊滅したけれど、逃げ出した住人たちの一部はどこかでまだ生きているかもしれない。
Okay.
町がモンスターの襲撃を受けたのはあれが初めてだったわけじゃない。じゃから心のどこかで鷹をくくっていたかもしれん。今度もまあなんとかなるじゃろう。
That should work now.
この間の襲撃は違った。それまでとは桁違いの凄まじい攻撃だった。おそらくほとんどの
そんなこと人間だもの。
大破壊が起きる前、人類の文明は繁栄を極めていた。けれども同時に乱獲や乱奪、密猟やら汚染やら環境破壊によって無数の動植物を絶滅させてきたそうです。
Oh, that's
ところが
interesting.
今や人類そのもの
Yeah,
が
that's
絶滅危惧種になりました。皮肉
the
な
fact
話
that
で
you
す
can
ね。
have so many firsts.
なんとでもいい絶滅危惧種となった
On your fifth playthrough, like, genuinely alarms me. I mean, to be fair, that's most women, though. It's not. Yeah, I will.
このゾーンに出現すると思われるウォンテッドモンスターの情報を送信しておきますね。
Alright, I'm gonna need to take a brief break.
送信した情報は
We'll
最
do
強の
that
モンスター
quick.
ハンターメインメニューから凄腕への道と凄腕チャレンジと呼ばれるか手に入れたポイントを
Alright, so we're